Okay, when we get started, the first thing that you're going to need is your blank piece of computer paper, and you are going to lay down your piece of paper in what we would call portrait orientation, meaning that when you lay it down, it is nice and tall. Not landscape orientation, which means when you lay it down, it's wide and fat, but portrait orientation. So make sure that your paper is laying down nice and tall. The second step we're going to do is to fold it in half from top to bottom. So with one hand, you're going to hold down the bottom of your page. With your other hand, you're going to pinch the top of your page, and you're going to bring that pinched top edge of your page down to the bottom edge of your page, and you're going to line up the two edges, top to bottom, so that they are fully lined up. Then you're going to take one hand, you're going to hold both of them down. Your other hand, you are going to press down and crease to fold it in half, okay? Then what you're going to do is you're going to take your pinchers and just take one flap, okay? So the edge on the bottom, you're just going to take one flap, and with that top flap, you're going to use your pinchers and line up that flap, that edge of that flap, with the top edge of your fold. And you're going to fold that down, okay? So once we have that kind of flappy flap, what you can do is you can turn it upside down so that you should have a top edge which is just flat against your table, and then a flap that can be pulled down to open it up, okay? So make sure that your paper looks like mine. If it doesn't, what you can do is rewind the video and try again. Okay, once you have it folded correctly, we are going to be drawing just on the front flap and this part of our page. Okay, not on the inside yet, just on the top flap, okay? And here already I have drawn out the basic shape outlines of what we're going to be drawing, okay, just for your reference. But we're going to go step by step on how to draw at least your head and your features. So what you're going to do is, remember, you're going to use your pencil to draw first. Don't use your marker, because if you make a mistake or want to change something, you can't erase marker, but you can erase pencil. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take my finger and I'm going to look for the bottom middle of my paper on this flap. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay down my finger horizontally, and I'm just going to make a tiny little mark on the top of my finger. That mark is where I'm going to make sure my chin comes down to, okay? And same thing with at the top. I'm going to look for the middle of my top flap, and this time at the bottom of my finger, I'm just going to make a little mark. That's going to be the top of my head. Okay. Now with your pencil, you are going to be drawing the outline of your face. Now take a look at how I drew it over here. Your face shape is like an oval, and it gets quite narrow near the chin. So it starts off wide and round like a regular circle, but it might turn a little bit more narrow at your chin. Okay, so you're going to try your best to draw the face shape oval. And one of the ways that we can draw out that line, but have it be something that we can erase if we want to make a change, is we're going to use sketch lines. Sketch lines mean that you're just making teeny little lines where you're barely pressing down with your pencil. That way you can kind of control and go slowly with the direction of which your line is going. So I'm going to bring my line down. Remember, I want to hit that mark that I made for the chin. So I'm going to bring it down so that it hits that mark with the chin. And then I'm going to use my sketch lines to round it back out and bring it right back around with that top dash, like that. Okay, if I like the line that I made, if it looks good to me, nothing's a little weird that I want to change, then on top of my sketch lines, then I can go over it with my pencil, pressing down over the lines that I have made. Now once you get to this flap, when you are drawing over your lines, make sure that you're going to press down really hard. And I'll explain why later. So once you get to that flap where your chin is, you're going to press down really hard. But you're going to go around making sure that your pencil line is very visible. There we go. Now we are then just going to draw two sort of vertical lines for our necks. And remember, our necks are much narrower than our heads. So your necklines should come around here and the other one here, making sure it's narrower than your head. Next step you're going to do is we're going to take our finger again and we are going to find the middle on top of this flap. Okay, so you're going to take your finger, put it on the middle of the top of the flap, and then you are going to draw one little mark on one side of your finger, and you are going to draw another mark on the other side of your finger. So there should be two little vertical dashes. That's going to be the bridge of your nose. Since your nose is going to be covered up with your mask, we're just going to see the top of your nose. Then on either side of the bridge of your nose, we're going to draw our eyes. And I know you guys know how to draw these eyes realistically, but I'm going to go through it step by step just as a little refresher. What might be a little bit tricky is making the eyes the same size. So my recommendation is to use a ruler to measure out the width of your eyes. Okay, so one thing that you can do is just give a little bit of space from that one side of your nose, make a little dot, okay? Then with your ruler, what you're going to want is from that dot, I would say the width of your eye should be about a little bit more than ½ an inch. So see how I'm going to make my dot in between the ½ inch and the inch mark, somewhere in between. Okay, there we go. See my two dots? Now I'm going to do the same thing on the other side of the bridge of my nose. So here's my dash over here. I'm just going to give the tiniest jump, having it be the same width that I made here. And you can use a ruler to measure that out. That's up to you. And then again, from that dot that I just made, I'm going to line up my ruler and I'm going to put another dot in between the 1 inch and the ½ inch mark right here. So it should be a little bit more than ½ an inch. Okay, now when we're doing the eyes, from dot to dot, you're going to just make a curved line, like a rainbow curve, going from dot to dot. And you can do that to both. Once you have your rainbow curve going from dot to dot, you're going to do an upside down rainbow curve from dot to dot. Notice how I'm staying on this side of the paper, not going on the flap. Okay, so I've made my rainbow curve, I've made my upside down rainbow curve or smile curve. Then underneath this rainbow curve, I'm going to do a second parallel rainbow curve going from dot to dot. Remember, parallel meaning I'm going in the same direction at the same time. I'm going to do that to both eyes for my eyelids because all human beings have eyelids. Then, once I have my eye and my eyelids, I'm going to start drawing what is the iris of my eye. And your iris is that larger colored circle part of your eye. So right underneath your eyelid, you're going to draw kind of like a big circle. There we go. And then on the inside, in the middle of that big circle that we drew, we're going to draw our pupil. And our pupil is that big black dot in the middle. And I'm going to have it sort of towards my eyelid, going like that. Again, kind of towards my eyelid, the big black dot of the pupil. Once I have my two eyes, if you would like to put eyelashes, you can put eyelashes. If you don't, that's okay too. But eyelashes start on the eyelid. So find that line that shows the bottom of our eyelid, and you can do a diagonal curve line, diagonal curve line, diagonal curve line, diagonal curve line, going towards the right side. Then on your left eye, your diagonal curve lines are going to be going diagonally to your left side. See? Again, you don't have to put it, but in case you do, that's how you do it. Now we are going to put our eyebrows. Now, I know some of you might struggle with eyebrows, but it's kind of the same sort of idea of our eyelashes, except a little bit flipped. So to start the eyelash, you just want to go a little bit above your eyes, and it's a diagonal curve curving towards your right, over your right eye. And the more you do that, you're going to kind of flatten it out almost so that it becomes horizontal. You're going to go along kind of like an arch. Okay, you're going to do that with your other eye. You're going to diagonal curve line to your left, but as it goes down in an arch, it kind of flattens out. Okay? So now we have our eyes, our eyebrows. We're going to draw our ears. Now, fun fact, if you look in your mirror, your top of your ear lines up perfectly with where your eyes are on your face. So our ears are going to start exactly where our eyes are. So once you have your eyes down, you can draw the top of your ear. And for our ear, all we're going to do is do a curved line down. With your ears, you can go over this bottom flap and bring it down. Okay, another curved line starting at the same place where my eye is and curving down at the side of my face. There we go. And last but not least, we're going to put this large rainbow curved line across our face for our masks. Okay, and you can even make a little mark right in the middle of the top of the flap to make sure that you show yourself that's where the top of your arch is going to be. So maybe we'll start at the bottom of our ear, and you can do sketch lines, hitting that sort of dash, and then our goal is to end up at the bottom of this ear. So sketch line, having that curved line, and at the bottom of our ear. Okay, once we have that, our next thing that we're going to concentrate is our hair. Now, all of you have all different types of hairstyles and textures. And normally in class, I would help you individually try to draw your hairstyle and texture. However, since I'm not going to see you in class, what you can do is just watch this tiny tutorial on hairstyles and textures. If you have a very short haircut, and your hair is kind of spiky, what you're going to do is you can use small, short dashes starting from your ear and kind of spiking up like this. Short lines, dash, 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 dash. Maybe some of those dashes come down a little bit with your hair coming forward. So here we go, short haircut where it's kind of spiky and then gets a little bit shorter towards your ears where your sort of sideburns are. So that's a short haircut. If you have somewhat longer hair, but it's still kind of a short haircut, you may look in the mirror and see, does your hair kind of come from the like back part of your hair and come forward to form sort of shorter bangs? And then is it longer kind of in towards your ears like that? Do you have a part? If you have a longer short haircut, it might look something like this. So again, lines coming from behind, diagonal curved lines, but still stopping short. And again, getting shorter lines towards your ears. And you can kind of curve it that way. So that's kind of a longer hair shortcut. If you have straight long hair, you're going to look to see where your part is. Some people, their hair starts coming from the middle of their head down. Some have a part where it comes from the side of their head going down. You're going to look in the mirror and decide. I'm going to do maybe a middle part here. So I might make a line just to show the middle part. And then if it's straight hair that's long, I'm going to make long straight lines. And if it goes behind your ear, you can stop at your ear and have the lines sort of start where your ear stops. Or if you have long hair that covers your ear, that's fine too. You can have it covering your ear. So you just don't want to have your hair covering your eyes. So still keep some sort of space there. And your straight hair, depending on how long it is, can extend all the way down. Now, a #1 kid mistake that I always see is that kids love to keep that weird gap between your neck and your hair. But if you look in the mirror, your hair goes behind your neck. So that means those lines of your hair are also going to extend even to where your neck is. Okay? If you have, say, curly hair or curly hair or wavy hair, depending on how curly or wavy it is, if it's really curly, you can do spirals for your hair, like this. And again, it depends on how long it is. Maybe it's so curly that it's so tightly curly that it curls all together, like this. Tight spirals. Or if you have wavy hair where it's looser curls, again, you can use kind of wavy lines to show wavy hair coming down. Again, you're going to stop it however long it is, but it's going to start from the top of your head going down. If you have twists or locks, your spirals are going to be so close together that they're almost going to be like little dash lines. So if you have locks or twists, do tiny, tiny little spirals, okay, depending on how long your locks or twists are. You can have them come really long or have them go pretty short. You might have to look in the mirror to see your locks or twists or braids. I'm going to have mine kind of come a little bit longer here. Or if you have bangs, bangs are also kind of tricky. If you have blunt bangs that go straight across, you might draw a line that's straight across just to show your blunt cut of your bangs, and draw those curved lines that kind of stop where that line is across, like that. Okay, let's have this person have bangs, but maybe this person with bangs has, say, a ponytail. Now, a lot of people love to put their ponytail here. If you have a high ponytail, you can make a little elastic band and have your ponytail hair come like this. Or if you have a low ponytail, if you look in the mirror and your ponytail is kind of over here, you can put your elastic band down towards the lower end of your cheek and have your ponytail hair come from that side, okay? It looks kind of fun in 80s. If you have bangs that are not blunt cut, but are kind of swooped to the side, what you can do is have those diagonal curved lines going from the side and across, and maybe on the other side. Maybe I'll give this person a little headband. And this person maybe has braids. Now braids, if you've ever tried to draw braids, braids are really hard to draw. I find the easiest way to draw braids is if you draw 2 parallel vertical lines and then just do X, 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 having it come together, and then adding your hair texture in the direction of the X's, okay? I know it doesn't look totally perfect, but it's probably the easiest way to make braids. So you can do that on the other side as well if you have 2 braids, okay? So hopefully you have figured out your hairstyle and texture. Okay, so hopefully you figured out your hairstyle and texture. And when you are drawing your hair on this project, remember you can extend your hair if it is long hair onto that bottom flap. So since it is my self-portrait, I have long hair that kind of starts from a middle part. So I'm going to bring my long straight hair down, and even if it's longer than my actual piece of paper, I'm just going to let those lines kind of go off the page. So if you have long hair, don't try to squeeze it and have it just end right here. Have your lines go off the page, and notice how I'm going right over onto that bottom fold. I'm going to do it to the other side because, again, this is my self-portrait and I have long straight hair that usually goes behind my ears and all the way down, filling in that weird gap between your neck and your hair. Okay, so if you are set and you like all that you've drawn on the front part of your project, you can go ahead and use a black marker or Sharpie to go over your lines. I'm going to recommend using a Sharpie instead of a fat marker because for those details, it's going to be kind of harder for you to do that in a thick marker. But if you only have a thick marker, usually the thick markers have a tip, and instead of pressing down really hard, you can use that tip to make your lines a little bit thinner. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go over my lines as best as I can, outlining my hair, outlining my face, outlining my ears. I'm going slowly, so I'm making sure that I'm going over those lines, over my neck, over my nose, the bridge of my nose. All right, here's where it's going to get tricky and a little bit more detailed. So I'm going to use that tip of my marker to do the outline of my eye, my eyelid, my eyelashes, my iris, my pupil. I'm going to go ahead and do that to my other eye, eyelashes, there we go, and last but not least, my eyebrows. Just outlining those little lines. There we go. Once I have the front of my face drawn out and outlined, just for today, for the first day, we can switch gears and already color in our faces. Now, again, same thing, where our skin tones are all different colors. And normally in class, I would help you find your skin tone with the Pupil colors. However, some of you might not have the Pupil color crayons. If you do, that's great. You can use them. If you have different colored sort of tans and blushes and browns, you can use those Pupil colors that match your skin tone. Okay, now that you figured out the colored crayons that you're going to use for your skin tone, you can go ahead and use that crayon to do best coloring on top of the flap part of your drawing and also on the back part that's laying flat on the table. And by best coloring, I mean small strokes, back, forth, filling in as much white space as possible, and making sure that your skin tone looks very solid by covering all that white space. Once you have your skin tone of your face, your ears, your neck all filled in, you can go on to coloring in your hair. And again, same thing, your hair color depends on, you can look in the mirror and look at your different hair color. My hair color is kind of a darker blonde or a very light brown, so I'm going to do a layer of a light brown. And then on top of that, the great thing about crayons is you can blend your crayons by also having a layer of this yellow to kind of make it look a little bit blonder. Again, your hair color is different from mine. You are just going to have to look in the mirror and experiment with the different crayons that you have. But look for your neutral crayons. Usually, if you are a blonde, you're going to be a combination of yellow and brown. If you have reddish hair where it's kind of orangey, it's going to be a combination of orange and brown. If you have brown hair, that's easy. It's just the brown crayon. And if you have black hair, you can either have it just be black or a combination of black and brown if it's just a really dark brown. Okay, so once you have your hair filled in, you're going to also do the color of the irises. So not the white part of your eye, you're not going to color in that part, but just inside that larger circle. Since I have green eyes, I'm going to choose my green crayon. And again, you're going to have to look in the mirror and see what color your eyes are. And now I'm on to the fun part, which is my mask. It is completely up to you how you want to design your mask and what sort of things you want to put on it. And much like my examples, you can either choose to just do any design, or you can think about things that you are interested in or want people to know about you, such as like sports or smiley face or anything that is connected to your interest or personality. Since I am a caring, loving person, I'm just going to put hearts in my mask design. So you can draw out whatever you want on your mask design, and then once you have it drawn out, then you are going to go ahead and use your best coloring. Again, best coloring meaning that you are using small strokes back, forth, trying to stay in those lines of whatever colors you want in your mask design. And once I have it all kind of filled in, I'm going to do the background color, which, let's say I'm going to do like a purple. And again, I'm staying in the lines, trying to fill in the white space to make it look very solid and realistic. Once you have your mask fully colored in, then we're also going to color in the background behind you. And you can decide how you want to color it in. It can be a solid color, or you can put a sky. It's kind of up to you. I'm feeling the sky. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab my light blue crayon. I'm gonna put some clouds here and there. And then once I'm done with that, I can use my crayon to color in that background. Same thing, I'm using my best coloring, which means smaller strokes, back, forth, trying to stay within the boundaries of what I want to color in, but still filling all that white space so that the background looks solid and it looks like a very realistic looking sky. Okay, so once you have finished fully coloring in your face and your hair and your mask and your background, then you are done with day 1, and we will do day 2 next time. Great job.